Welcome to Saturday versus Sunday. I'm John Barbin. With me is Jeff Dover, and let's talk football.
That's right. We're average football fans. We watch football on Saturday and Sunday. That's why our podcast is titled this. And we're doing our review of the Detroit Lions Green Bay Packers game from Sunday. What are your initial thoughts?
Well, that was unexpected.
I mean, it really was, because we thought going in it was going to be two good teams, and it would be more like what happened with the Baltimore Buffalo game. Tune into that review if you haven't seen that one yet. But Green Bay started out executed so well at the beginning, and Detroit just couldn't come back.
I mean, Detroit was in the fourth shortest odds for the Super Bowl, fifth, something like that, like well ahead of Green Bay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, man, I'm a little bit reeling. Now, obviously, those odds were all set before the trade, the Parsons trade. So I haven't revisited them, but after this game, I'm sure those things look totally different. But
yeah.
I didn't think his presence would have this much of an impact, and I guess it didn't. I mean, I don't know if it technically did. Gary, the other end, he had a whale of a game.
He looked great. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Green Bay spent most of the game in the Detroit backfield one way or another. They were causing havoc all game long, and maybe ironically it wasn't necessarily Parsons doing it. Like he came in packages at the and just on fourth down, which is reasonable. He's only been there like a couple weeks. It's hard to integrate into the scheme that quickly.
Yeah, no, that was one of my pet peeves from the broadcast. Is that they've done this before in the NFL. Whenever there's a superstar, like someone, they'll mention all the time when he's on the field, when he's not on the field, like whatever he does. They talked about Parsons way too much on this broadcast. Now, I get it. He was traded from Dallas to Green Bay. Like it's weird that he's there. It's crazy that someone that talented would be traded over. But literally, Jim Nantz said every time he was on the field and like highlighted what he did, whether it was something special or not. Now, he ended up with a sack, and I think he did have some impact on the game. But like you said, I think Gary, if you had to, based on one game, Gary had more impact on this game than Parsons, and should deserve credit for that.
And it looked like it too. So yeah. I got the PFF sort of advanced stuff up here. Just when you dig into the numbers a bit, it kind of tells the story that what also it looked like on the field. Okay. And these are numbers specifically speaking of the passing game that pre-game, I would guess most fans would have guessed to be the reverse.
Okay.
So yards on deep completions, Detroit had 0. Green Bay had 73. Explosive passes, Green Bay 6, Detroit 3.
Yeah.
Deep attempts, Green Bay 4, Detroit 1. Yeah. So yards on explosive passes, Green Bay 141, Detroit 67. It's just, I in my mind, I picture Detroit as being the offense that's just exploding down the field.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't the case in this game.
No.
And then the pressures allowed. Oh no,
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, so just about the receiving thing. Like, so Goff was 31 for 39 for 225 yards, right? And a TD and an interception. So at first you're like, yeah, that's not bad. But it's 31 for 225 yards, okay? So 31 completions. So when you look at the box score, Laporte had 6 catches for 79 yards. It's not bad. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 4 catches for 45 yards. So that's the low yardage thing like you're talking about. Jameer Gibbs, 10 catches, 31 yards. That's 3 yards a catch like that. So that is it. And then Williams, who's the fast guy, right? Jameson, you'd think they're all fast, but you know what I mean? He's known for his speed. 4 catches, 23 yards. So that is a crazy low number of yards per reception. So I think that's an excellent point. I think Green Bay holding them to no explosive plays and holding them, like giving them the underneath thing, was one of the keys to this game.
Yeah, and I think part of all of that is they were taking the downfield pass away and not giving him time to get to those deeper passes.
Yep.
So total pressures allowed here, Detroit 20, Green Bay 9. Yards lost on sacks, Detroit 25 yards lost on sack, Green Bay 0.
Yeah.
So hurries
4 sacks for Goff and 0 for Love. That's another big key of the game. I think that's a great point.
Yeah, and hurries allowed 14 Detroit, Green Bay 7. So it's not like Detroit wasn't kind of bothering Love, but nowhere near enough. And in comparison, Green Bay was just all over Detroit. They were in the backfield. They were just completely ruining this offense. And I think this could be a side effect. I think the broadcast mentioned this. Detroit's starting 3 new offensive linemen across the interior. And that maybe is a glaring problem for this team because
Yeah.
the O-line used to be a strength of this team.
Yep.
And now all of a sudden it looks like it might be a liability.
Yeah.
Yeesh.
That's going to be tough. And I think that also explains some of the rushing, too. They only rushed for 46 yards. It was 11. Montgomery and Gibbs are better than that, okay? And we know that from this wasn't last year. They almost had 1,000 yards each rushing last year. So 11 carries for 25 yards and 9 carries for 19 yards is like not going to cut it, you know? And we talked about this in our Seattle-San Francisco review. Go back and listen to that if you haven't heard that one that's been posted. But that one, you know, there's rookie offensive linemen this year, like there is every year, but this year there's been, you know, they struggle at the beginning. They struggle with really talented defensive linemen, and it's an old cliche. You need a good offensive line. It starts up front, and if there's 3 new ones, unless they're hitting immediately, that's going to be tough. Now, going up against Parsons and Gary, I think is a tough ask early on. You know, that's a rough, you know, initiation into the league, but still, I think that's they if you're a Detroit fan, you were hoping those 3 gelled quicker than that.
Yeah, and man, it's kind of shocking to see Detroit have the offense that can't get anything done on the ground or in the air. Like it's all I have is the memory of last year where this offense could just shred anybody, and they could passing, running, just everything worked. And I wonder if this is the pinch of the absence of Ben Johnson too.
Yeah, I think that's a great point because this is the most pedestrian I've seen them look, and this is, you know, it's 27-13. It's not like they were blown out, but it was 27-6 late to go in the fourth quarter. You know, like that touchdown didn't mean that much near the end, and that's 65 yards and a touchdown that came in the very last drive. So if you take that away, like it was really not close. You know, like their total yards was 246, so that would have been like 180 before that last drive, like, which is really saying. So I think you're right. I think that it's that's one of the key things in football is replacing who you lose, and that goes for players and coaches. You know, so 3 offensive linemen in the offensive coordinator. You know, it's apparent. You know, can't just, you know, replace them with anybody.
And the defensive coordinator.
Yeah, that's right.
So, I mean, and this is the side effect of being a successful program is the offensive coordinator and the defensive coordinator are going to get offers. And this is what happens. Now, if they could have kept the band together, assuming the absence of these coordinators had anything to do with this, if they could have kept the band together a couple of more years anyways, and this has been a narrative I've seen about coordinators becoming a head coach and not going well, going back to being a coordinator. Spagnuolo is maybe the most sort of obvious on this list of he's going to stay with Reed, with the Chiefs, and you have essentially one of the top 1 or 2 play callers and on offense and one of the top 1 or 2 play callers on defense. And there's no reason for them to ever break up that band.
Yep.
And it's almost like he needs to, when they're that good, management should find a way to compensate them to never let them go. And they don't contribute to the salary cap. You can pay those guys whatever you want. There's no limit there. And Kingsbury should stay as the coordinator at Washington because him and Daniels look like there's magic there.
Yeah, Kingsbury. Yeah. There was
Kingsbury. There's no L in that.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Someone called you out on that last time. So
I still like saying it. That's why.
That's right. But there's certain coordinators. I'm like, you just Saleh at San Francisco. Just stay there. Yeah. Just stay there. I mean, that Saleh at San Francisco with Shanahan is kind of like Spagnuolo with Andy Reid, like the head coach, offensive play caller, and a lights out defensive coordinator. So maybe that's part of what's going on here. But to your point, this was a blowout. This was a complete domination, and that final touchdown was just garbage time. Tesla is kind of awesome.
Yeah.
But this Detroit fans. Okay, so what do we say here? Detroit fans have to be concerned. There's nothing redeeming about this game. This was ugly. Even Hutchinson was like, I thought he'd have a way bigger impact, but he kind of didn't.
He was. I was looking at his stat line. It's zeros, like for tackles, everything, which seemed that was surprising. Yeah, no. If the Detroit takeaway, I think you highlighted the key concerns. It's the change in offensive line, the running backs didn't look as effective as they were last year, and we know they're good. So that really does speak to like it's an offensive line problem. Goff looked good, but he can't do everything himself. And if it's the defensive line is getting them that quickly that they have to do everything with the check down, that's going to be hard to come back from something like this when you're down like 17 points early. So I think you're right.
Yeah, like it after watching the Seahawks Niners game where they got through a rock fight like that, like I don't know if this team, I mean that's what you're expecting from a limited offense like what the Lions just put on the field here. So concerning for the Lions, who I thought was the front runners in this division, and now quickly look like they're not the front runners anymore. It's probably going to be Green Bay here. I mean, we haven't even seen.
It's one game in, but it didn't look good.
Oh no, I'm jumping to the end already.
Okay,
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's one game in, division.
Yeah, division's over. Yeah.
No. One game in, look really bad for Detroit. Look, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. All the personnel is there, but
yeah.
if it really comes down to the line,
yeah, they need to get better. So the other line that I had here, this was a great example I thought for Green Bay of sticking with the run, because at the beginning they weren't getting much. They didn't run for that much anyway. It was 78 yards. It's like 30 more yards than what Detroit did, but they didn't get that much, but they stuck with it. And then those runs, he had over 44 yards in the second half. And so that's a classic example of like staying with it, wearing down the defense a bit, taking away the pass rush from Detroit, and then he ended up with 19 carries and 66 yards and a touchdown. And so Jacobs was good. So that was a good example of balance between passing and throwing and sticking with the run, even if it's not working, because you got more yards in the second half.
Josh Jacobs, man, how many? I don't think
he's great to watch.
Not too many running backs I would take ahead of him.
Yeah, no, he's great to watch. He's a great balance of size and speed and escapability, but also power, and you know what I mean? Like he's got 5'10", 220 is sort of the prototypical, and fast. He's an excellent player.
And he gets like more aggressive, and he seems to get more effective as the game goes on. And he
27 years old. You could argue he's in his prime right now. God,
he's good. I mean, he's top 5 for me. I love the attitude he plays with. There's like it's not. I mean, I think Detroit's backs are similar, but Jesus, Jacobs, there's a nastiness almost to the way he plays. It's like he wants the contact. I don't know.
Runs angry.
Right, yes, runs angry, effective and angry. So, I mean, wow, great start for Green Bay. The Micah Parsons era officially starts, and obviously he's not even integrated into the defense yet, so there's going to be a lot more to come here, so a lot more to see. NFC North is now on alert. This team is, I'm sure everyone thought this team was going to be competitive and likely a playoff team, but to me, this changes how everyone's going to see the NFC North right now.
Yeah, and big, quick turnaround this week. They host the Commanders on Thursday, so that's going to be a really good game too. After what the Commanders did this week too, check out that game review if you haven't heard it yet either.
Yep. All right, so I think it's a good place to leave it.
Yep.
All right. So also, if you're still with us on the channel, we'd appreciate if you like the show, appreciate it if you give us a like and maybe a subscribe if you want to stick around and check out more, or maybe share it with somebody you think might like what we got going on. All right, so for Jeff Dover, I'm John Barban, and that's your Saturday versus Sunday podcast.